If you're heading out across southern Ontario on Friday morning, you're going to want to plan ahead, because a messy round of wintry weather is set to move through the region, bringing a mix of snow, freezing rain, and rain that could create some very tricky travel conditions. Let's start with what's happening early Friday morning. A clipper system moving in from the prairies will spread precipitation across southern Ontario right around the morning commute. This is not just one type of precipitation either. We're looking at a mix, and that's what makes this system more impactful. North of Highway 401 is where the biggest concern lies. In this zone, including areas from the Bruce Peninsula through the Dundalk Highlands and along the Oak Ridges Moraine stretching east toward Prince Edward County and Kingston, freezing rain is expected to develop. Even though the freezing rain may be light, it doesn't take much to create dangerous conditions. A few millimeters of ice accretion is possible, and that's enough to make roads, sidewalks, and bridges extremely slippery. So if you're in these, expect icy surfaces during the morning hours and be extra cautious when traveling. Now, as you move further south, conditions begin to change. Across the Greater Toronto Area and into southwestern Ontario, temperatures will be just warm enough for precipitation to fall mainly as rain. So instead of icy roads, the main concern here will be wet conditions and reduced visibility at times. Meanwhile, eastern Ontario is dealing with a different part of this system. Instead of freezing rain or plain rain, this region is expected to see a steady round of snowfall. Areas like Bancroft and Brockville could pick up anywhere between 5 and 15 centimeters of snow. That kind of accumulation, especially if it falls steadily through the day, can quickly cover roads and lead to slower travel. Visibility could also be reduced in heavier bursts of snow, so drivers in eastern Ontario should be prepared for winter driving conditions. Adding to all of this will be the wind. As the system moves through, breezy southerly winds are expected to develop, with gusts between 30 and 60 km per hour. These winds may not be damaging, but they can make conditions more uncomfortable and, in areas with snow, could lead to some blowing and drifting. Now here's where things get interesting again. While much of southern Ontario is dealing with wintry or messy weather, southwestern Ontario will actually be on the warmer side of this system. Temperatures in this region could climb into the low to mid-teens, meaning no wintry precipitation concerns here, just mild and breezy conditions. So within the same province, you have icy roads in one area, snow-covered roads in another, and spring-like temperatures in the southwest. That's a classic late-season setup. As we move past Friday and into the weekend, there is some temporary relief. The start of the weekend looks relatively calm and even pleasant for many areas. But that break will be short-lived. By the second half of the weekend, another system is expected to move into Ontario, and once again, it brings a mix of precipitation types. A boundary is expected to set up across the region, separating mild air to the south from colder air to the north. This means that areas south of this boundary could see mostly rain, while areas to the north remain cold enough for snow or even freezing rain. This kind of setup can create very sharp differences in weather over short distances. One area might be dealing with rain, while another just a short drive away is experiencing snow or ice. That also means forecasts could shift slightly over the next couple of days depending on where exactly that boundary sets up. So it's important to keep checking for updates, especially if you have travel or outdoor plans. The key takeaway here is that Friday morning will likely be the most impactful period in the short term, especially for areas north of Highway 401 where freezing rain could create icy and hazardous conditions. Eastern Ontario will need to watch for accumulating snow, while the GTA and southwestern Ontario deal with mainly rain and milder temperatures. Then heading into the weekend, we get a brief break before another round of mixed weather arrives, continuing this active and changeable pattern. This is a classic late March setup, where winter and spring are both trying to take control, leading to rapidly changing conditions across the region. So make sure you give yourself extra time on the roads Friday morning, check local forecasts before heading out, and stay prepared for changing weather as we move into the weekend.